All right, we are live.
I believe so.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the Whiskey Podcast. I'm ChewDada.
I'm Nate Fu.
And we are coming to you from a very cool temperatured California.
Yeah, if you tuned into our last one, we were all roasting out back, and it was bright and sunny, and it's at least bright and sunny, but it's sitting in the...
Low 60s is a high?
Yeah, mid-50s, low 60s is a high for the day. It's, welcome to the fall.
We're officially in fall. And isn't that fantastic, though? So, the fall is an interesting time. Like, this entire period is an interesting time. Earlier this morning, we got the more or less official calls on the election. We're starting to actually feel the temperature change and what that means.
Politically, or?
Yes. Physically, politically, emotionally. We're about to head into the winter and definitely see a lot more happening at that point.
Indeed. It's been a weird week all around.
Yeah.
Both
so why don't we go back?
climate-wise and...
Yeah. I want to go back a bit. As of... I've got a bit of an echo. Little bit. I don't know how to solve that.
We're good. That's fine.
Okay. I always have a bit of an echo, it seems.
I think that for whatever reason, the back of my mic likes to pick you up, but for whatever reason, yours doesn't. Mine doesn't. Yeah.
All right. Well, then.
That gets fixed in post.
Where were we? Yeah, so this past week, my little girl turned 9 months old. Well, 2 weeks ago, I guess, at this point, but yeah. 9 months old.
Yeah.
Born at the very beginning as we were starting to go into the whole COVID situation. It kind of has been a gauge for us, not only of her growth and development and how things have changed, but what's going on in the greater world beyond us.
Indeed.
And speaking of COVID...
Yeah, I had a little bit of a scare myself. This podcast almost didn't happen this week. Turns out that one of my coworkers decided that he was going to go party it up in Miami this weekend. Hop on a plane, go party in Miami, hop on a plane, come back. And while I will give him some credit for having the forethought that once he got back into California to go get tested, make sure he wasn't exposed or anything.
All right.
Where he screwed up was he decided to come to work anyways pending those results. And so I worked with him Monday. I worked with him Tuesday. Tuesday being election night. I was bombarded emotionally and bombarded by my communities that were also very emotionally taken back by the results that were coming in and how threadbare the differences were.
Mm-hmm.
That I ended up staying up until almost 3 o'clock in the morning Wednesday. So I subsequently called off work on Wednesday, just took a mental health day, and my boss was okay with it. But that day, my coworker's results came back and he tested positive.
Oof.
I didn't find out till I walked back into work on Thursday.
Oh, I didn't realize that's how it went.
Yeah. So I got back to work, and as I'm walking in, I have 3 people looking at me like, what are you doing here? I said, well, what do you mean? I just took yesterday off. I didn't take the week off. And they said, you didn't hear? What didn't I hear? And so, yeah, the story was laid out. Thankfully, I'm always diligent about wearing my mask, so my coworkers weren't treating me like I had the plague. They see me, my best effort, like, where even some of them fail. That mask is always on when I'm around other people, even when I'm out on my workstation by myself. So they weren't, like, they weren't giving me a wide berth, but they were like, you need to talk to the boss, who, of course, doesn't come until 7:30,
right.
2 hours after my shift starts. And, yeah, when he came in, I rightfully gave him a ration of shit for, obviously not informing me when I'm in close contact with the person that has now tested positive, and then immediately took a half day off, went over to our local Kaiser and scheduled a test, and then went home and very impatiently and very anxiously waited those results. And it was kind of a panic because the way timelines work and way, your peak infection rates and peak contact rates, all that works out. I was right at the point where I was, I guess, statistically most infectious.
Right. So based on when you had come in contact with him, the incubation period for that showed that, 2 days prior to potentially showing symptoms and 1 day after showing symptoms is when you've got the highest chance of spreading.
Right. And that even applies if you're asymptomatic.
Right.
If, even if you're not showing symptoms, your peak infection rate starts 2 to 3 days after contact. So, yeah, I called off and immediately contacted the family, kicked the wife, kicked the children out of the house, sent them over to yours.
They came here.
Thank you again. Big clusterfuck. And then my wife immediately also scheduled a test just to be on the safe side because,
she's probably the one you'd had the most contact with after.
Yeah, you think?
And I don't want to know what goes on, but...
So, obviously, because we're podcasting, those tests
balls. Hey, Bod Sherpa.
What's up, Bod? Yeah, I mean, obviously, since we're podcasting, the test came back negative, which, is a major relief for myself.
Oh, major relief for me also.
Yeah.
Because, that Friday morning, we had both your girls and your wife, and your wife, my wife, and the mother-in-law all were teaching at the exact same time. So I had all three, of our kids at once. And let me tell you, I can't keep up with one of them.
Right. Yeah. And, again, on Friday, obviously, there wasn't an issue with infection. But, yeah, what was it? Thursday? Oh, yeah, Friday this week. Dumb. Yeah, big scare. Yeah, we have 3 small children. Our family, we're close. This is my COVID, right? This is my one respite where I can come and hang out and actually have some socialization, which I consider that very fortunate that we have that arrangement.
Well, I mean, we can also discuss the fact that, I think we all need a degree of socialization at this point.
Yeah.
People have become a bit rabid.
I mean, I love you guys on the internet, but it's just not the same, and you all understand that. It's not a slight to anyone at all.
Yeah, I mean, metaphorically on the internet, you can hit each other in the balls and show your love, but, in real life, his daughter punches me in the nuts all the time.
I mean,
out of love.
Over the internet, our good buddy Dan has successfully managed to corrupt my children. So
yes, it's true.
Kudos to him.
And, your oldest did manage to hand me rocks and goes, here's some rocks. So, Mod Sherpa, cheers to you on that one.
You were influential even when you don't realize it. So
speaking of being influential and you don't even realize it. Just watching all My auto mod just stopped Jaden.
Stop spamming. Oh, yeah. We have a hype limit here. Sorry.
I need to fix that. I don't know. It's smarter than I am. But no, this has been an interesting couple weeks period of time. I called it the fall because we're sort of coming out of whatever phase and everything is in and looking to what's next. And what's next is eventually a rebirth, but we're going to go through a lot of trouble before we get there. We're still looking at COVID and what's going on there, and we've seen a light with some of how the election has gone, but not necessarily the same thing. I'm starting to finally get people actively talking to me about more work and seeing where that goes. But even that landscape has changed drastically.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes now that we actually have somewhat of a decision.
Right.
As of earlier this afternoon, the media has officially called the race, and we have a 46th president of the United States, and we are moving on from the Trump administration.
Yeah. From now until the 21st, it's going to be a lot of...
Fingers crossed that everything in the recounts comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it's going to be continuous battle, and this isn't the war. This is just step one, getting back to solid ground. Lady Fu is currently staring at us and providing us all means of, I don't know, would you call that encouragement?
Yes, as she's steaming up the glass window here, making it very moist.
Shit.
So yeah, fucking hell of a week.
But even during this period, your kids have also changed rapidly. My kid has changed rapidly. We're seeing some massive changes. Your youngest is really, really starting to push her boundaries and explore a bit more, but is also a lot more...
Push her boundaries or push our boundaries?
Yes. She's also a lot more cohesively verbal, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, she's really come into her own as far as being able to express herself auditorily.
Yeah.
And not just in screams.
And your oldest seems to be doing really well with the schedule and kind of having a little bit more structure.
I just wish she'd wear clothes more often.
Yeah, and make it a lot easier to develop content for all of this. That we could take pictures that we could actually use, but... today she showed up and she dressed exactly like Mama Bear. So they were very excited they were matching. Down to, Ugg boots that they were both wearing. So very California of them.
Ugg boots and shorts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle, I tell you.
Then there's my girl, which has been talking nonstop. Eats anything she can get her hands on. Still won't crawl. Teeth are still coming in. And we're still, she kind of wants to jump through all that and just go directly into running. Forget walking, forget crawling, forget all that shit. So.
It's amazing how...
But it's 9 months. And
between the three of them, there is just over, a few days over 3 years between the oldest and the youngest, and they couldn't be any more different. It's again, they warn you when you have kids. It's you take it with a grain of salt that
Oh no, I'm lucky. I got a trick baby.
Yeah, we had ours, and it convinced us to have a second one, and that second one has been
trials and tribulations, but
I wouldn't say she's more trying than the first one.
No, I think she just approaches it differently. Your oldest approaches things like a bull, head on, lowers her head, runs at you, full speed. That's pretty much your oldest.
Yeah.
Your youngest is a little more. We'll step back, watch the situation, and then see how she can stir the pot.
Yeah. So.
But they all love each other. And somehow they're still alive, so I consider that a win for us.
Cheers to that. What are we cheersing with, by the way?
Yeah, so we decided it's fall, and I'm still not awake, even though it's 2:45 in the afternoon. So we have Baileys and coffee.
Heavy
And
on the Baileys.
heavy on the Baileys. We're drinking King's Coast Santa Cruz Reserve, Guatemala blend of bittersweet, smoky, and dark chocolate.
Yay! Goes actually really well with the Baileys.
I want to know. I'm empty. Would you refill me, please?
Oh, let me not pour that over the equipment.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I don't trust myself that
Here, why
much.
don't I just hand you the cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. This is the content you're waiting for, isn't it, ladies and gents?
Here.
Coffee.
I left you some room for Baileys.
I'm going to stick with the coffee for a moment. Get it down a little lower. So we talk about this being the fall. You know, we're seeing, again, a lot of things change and rebirth. I don't want to dwell on the election. Simply because I don't think the drama is over yet.
Right.
I think the drama is just beginning, and we're going to be living in a degree of a war zone moving forward for at least the next 2 months.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, as a society, we have to take a step back and really look at what we've become as America. You know, what's that future I want my kids to grow up in?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we get there from here?
And again, not to dwell on the election too much. There was a 4 million, as of this moment, a 4 million vote difference.
Mm-hmm.
Popular vote, which means just under half of this country still agrees with the previous administration.
Or was willing to overlook.
Yeah.
And
that's a reality, whether win or lose.
mm-hmm.
That contingent is still out there. And what does that mean as a society moving forward?
And some of the worst offenders of traditional politics that sided and encouraged that still have their seats.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had very strong competition in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Bailey's down. So, you know, I used to really believe in the bubble I lived in and how our small village was a microcosm of what greater America was. And I was always aware that there were differences, and the echo chambers of the internet have made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that literally this is one of the most historic voting outturns in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
And things were still that close.
Mm-hmm. Again, you got to recognize that there is a huge contingent of people that still are very conservative in their ideals.
Well, there's a difference between, I think, conservative and Trumpism.
Yes.
And, you know, like, I'm liberal, but I'm not necessarily a Democrat.
Same. And this was a conversation I had on Tuesday with my therapist, because that's when my therapy sessions are. And yeah, this was a topic going into the bot told you. The bot is mean. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to my therapist on Tuesday, and we were kind of going proactive on the conversation, knowing that this was coming, and you know where we stand politically. And again, I said it before, I'll say it again. I am fiscally conservative. I'm very socially liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told her, I've gotten to a point where when it comes to the social issues, yeah, if we get taxed more by the Biden administration, if that means my taxes go up, if that means I have to pay a little more, but my daughters have freedom of autonomy, my wife has freedom of autonomy, your wife has freedom of autonomy, our friends that are LGBTQ maintain their rights, maintain, you know, civil liberties. I don't care what that dollar amount is, it's worth it. I'm willing to put that side of my politics down, because the social politics far and away outweigh any amount of I can make money.
Yeah. Well, and I think it comes down to, why are we participating in this experiment of, a society to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Is it to create a society that's better for everyone and shows growth and opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it to empower a few to make decisions so we're not personally responsible for the actions?
Right.
And I, for one, believe everyone needs to step up and pull their means. Sorry, the youngest of Nate's kids is trying to figure out how to unlatch the door and come outside. And she's being rather cute about it.
She's so damn adorable.
Very photogenic. Like, all three of the girls are super photogenic. I don't know where they got it from.
Yeah. No, but, the one picture you put out there, they remember why we vote.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing that little smiling face in that glass that's why we vote. That's why I voted the way I did.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Like,
Yeah,
once
you have kids, it's no longer about you.
Yeah, this is far from a perfect scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But it is far better than what we were looking at, continuing where we were going. So,
Well, yeah, it's a step on solid ground. Now the real work begins, and whatever that means. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that not just politics and culture and society. We've got the economy to rebuild. We've got a new economy to build at this point. Out here in California, Prop 22 passed, which basically meant that rideshare workers are all contractors and not classified as employees. In short, this means that they get no protections, no unemployment, no disability, no Social Security payments, none of that. They're responsible for covering all of that out of their meager wages.
Mm-hmm.
And that has a compounding and cascading effect across a lot of business here in California and the rest of the United States. And California pretty much dictates a good chunk of the economy for the U.S. So with a decision like that, it vastly changes the game. And, we go from a society that's built on the back of union labor and people standing up, and we're back into a situation where it's very easy for corporations to take advantage of employees. Excuse me. And I'm not necessarily sure it's a good thing or bad thing at this point, but I know it's going to change the game.
Yeah. And we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, I'll make money.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it comes down to. I think it's no longer about staying in one line, staying in your lane. All of us have to have multiple lanes moving forward. And I think, kids these days are going to have a...
Spoken like a true old man.
Yeah, get off my lawn, Grandpa. But no, kids these days, especially kids that have now been at especially a young age going through the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders and things like that, they have had to rapidly change and adapt to something new. And it's harder for older people.
Oh, right.
But this is now a defining year for some of them. So I think we might end up seeing a generation of people that are more dynamic, more flexible, and more self-driven than we've seen since, the Greatest Generation. Just in the nature of that's the only thing they know. Sure. They only know how to be adapted. They don't know necessarily the structure. Since all of us are married to teachers here, they're not going back to school this year.
No, nor should they.
Nor should they. It's not under control. By the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if the total number of infected in the United States doubles. And that's just based on statistics. Mm-hmm. That's not based on anything else. So how do you control that? Well, we have to start from scratch because everything was taken and, dumped out. But speaking of starting from scratch, I think Jaden in chat will appreciate, how are we streaming and setting this all up right now?
What you mean?
Well, Mama Bear's old hand-me-down computer died, so we had to invest about $600 into building a new system for her.
Right. Just bare minimum so that she could do her teacher work.
Mm-hmm. And it's currently the fastest and best computer that we have available to us. So we're remoting into it from out here, and it's streaming and processing and recording, and actually seems to be doing a pretty damn good job, knock on wood.
Yep. I think we might have found a winning setup here.
Right? And it's still giving me high bitrate, high frames per second. It's doing well. No warnings have popped up.
And obviously chat's interacting, which means they can hear us and we're not getting too choppy.
Right.
So, yay. This might be the first episode we have that is
workable.
All around. Yeah.
Right.
We've had...
I mean, the sun is blaring out both of us
Sure.
at the moment, but I'll put some filters on that, and that'll be great. I think increasing the audio quality is going to be one of our next steps.
Yeah.
But this is jerry-rigged and not as pretty as Jaden's unicorn-powered machine he's got going right now.
Can I just say, can we please get parts that don't require,
RGB related.
RGB and tempered glass? Like, I want to build a solid computer, not a freaking aquarium.
Unicorn. Oh my god, I need to stop Nightbot because it keeps preventing Jaden from doing anything.
Behave. Behave. Oh, behave. It's hilarious.
I need to actually set this up. I'm going to start streaming this week, I think. We were going to stream this past week, but, there was an election.
Streamed.
Oh, yeah, you streamed while I had your family.
Yeah. While I was running anarchy runs with the Bearded Legion, trying to get my wife that coveted prize. And
what was the final count?
89? Or are we at 94 now?
Well, they're running tomorrow, I believe. Well, how many runs did it take for her to finally get a drop?
Oh, I don't even remember.
It had to have been at least 18.
Yeah, we were 16 to 18, something like that. And much like when I believe it was Bibble got his, I was running on your PC, trying to get mine as well, and
yours crashed.
Yeah,
or the PC crashed.
Your PC crashed, and Bibble got his, and so I was running on Xbox, thankfully, and streaming at the same time. And again, at the the last damage phase, my computer decided to shit kittens and completely freeze. Thankfully, it was
the computer, not Xbox.
I wasn't gaming on the computer. And I'd done the run enough that I knew what to do with my damage phase and knew to, kill my snipers, run over to the frisky kitten there and stand up on the proper ledges and knock it out. And then we defeat the boss, and I'm like, okay, well, let me turn the computer back on real quick just so I can get this back up and running. And as I turn the computer back on, it blanks my monitor.
So you saw it. You saw it on Dan's stream.
So I fire up my laptop real quick, log into the stream, and watch the drop happen. And it's like, are you kidding me? So yeah, it takes in my case, a PC sacrifice for someone to get an anarchy that really, really needed it.
Yeah. Which, as a tangent, we need to build new computers. We'll be talking to you later, Jaden.
Yeah, I have a build queued up that I was, I wasn't chintzy with it, and I was really surprised that it came in under $2,000. So I will send that to you and see if you approve. I think you'd be moderately surprised with what I managed to piece together for $1,900.
Mod Sherper would be moderately surprised.
Moderately Sherpa'd, yeah. Hi, Charlie.
Huh?
Knock, knock.
And she's locking us out.
What's that look?
Mm-hmm.
Did I do that?
$1 million question. How close to Tustin are we?
Tustin, hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. So speaking of the fall, we've had the computers fail on us, and the transition is Mama Bear starting the new computer rise.
Right.
But work wise, I think things are starting to change. I think finally people are starting to adapt, even though they're fighting back to this distance work. Micro Center may be your friend for those builds. Good to know. I have my third interview with a company on Monday. Mom and pop cybersecurity company, so fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah.
Entirely remote. Part-time for at least a month or two, and then full-time from there. But part-time would be far more than I make on unemployment, so.
Indeed. Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. So.
And I think we keep going, I still plan on getting the real estate license and running with that. Still want to do streaming and content creation for Debuff Dad and that entire microcosm. Because I still think that we collectively have things that we could say that can help parents and, new dads especially. You being grandpa and having lived forever. And
that hurts, man. That really hurts.
Well, I mean, your hip hurts also. Could you feel the rain coming?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm. So did I, but
no.
So yeah, where are we on a timeline?
Yeah, we're like 37-ish minutes.
We are. Okay. So speaking of the fall, Beyond Light launches in 3 days.
What is today? It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. We got 3 more days in which we can...
I'm not tripping. I hear you. There's no... he says there's no part-time for real estate. No, it's something I'd go in full-time too, just on top of a normal 9-to-5 job to begin with. The difference is if I can get this current gig I'm going for, it's not 9 to 5, it's entirely remote, so it allows me a lot better opportunity to be flexible and collaborative and things like that across the board. And the goal really is not to not work as much, it's to be able to have our schedule and build our schedule around what's important to us, which is our family.
Right.
Our family, mind you, as Lady Fu
mocking us through the glass door again.
I don't know if that's mocking. I think she's mocking herself. She's just pushing her face up against the glass. Too bad it's not cold enough that it sticks.
Yeah. And there's the naked one.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Nate Fu's oldest is allergic to clothing at this point, I'm convinced. She does not wear clothing whenever she comes over to our house. And yeah.
Not a tan line to be found on that girl.
There's no tan line whatsoever. Like my kid has gotten a bit darker, but there's that diaper tan line.
Yeah.
That's blatant. There, no. It's solid.
Yeah, so Beyond Light, we have the downtime on Monday, I guess, 14 hours of downtime?
Yes,
plus
I think it starts
preload.
at like 7 p.m. Pacific, something like that. So there's going to be a small event prior to downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. I don't think it's going to be anywhere as big as the...
like House of Wolves and stuff like that?
Well, not like... I think it's an in-game event.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to be like the ship blowing up like we saw last season or anything like that.
Gotcha.
But I think it's going to be something there, which I'm excited for. But they just did a lore drop as part of the collector's edition, and then there's some general videos. I don't even think we can edit this out, because the naked older sister and the fully dressed younger sister are both trying to steam up the glass and draw pictures in it. The problem is the angles and the body positions that they're putting themselves in to try and achieve this. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's special.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, coinciding with the drop of Beyond Light, we also have consumers will be getting their first hands on the next-gen consoles.
Mm-hmm. There's also Assassin's Creed Valhalla dropping, which I've seen some people play some of the early copies of it.
Right.
And it's, for a AAA game, has some major issues I'm concerned with, which is unfortunate.
It's almost to be expected this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the reason games like Cyberpunk have decided to push themselves out until Nevada gets their vote count done. Sorry, I didn't mean you to spit up your coffee there.
Nevada's over there like 1, 2, 43. Oh no, I messed it up. I gotta start over again. No, we jest. The poll workers have been doing an amazing job of counting. And,
in Vegas, the poll workers?
Everything.
Really? You want to go there, huh?
Hey. I have a friend who's a
keep your daughters on the polls.
History teacher who said his job was to keep kids off the polls, and all he finds them, and then he introduced them to 338 or 538, and all they're doing is spending their time on the polls there. So,
Ba-dum-bum.
Yes. He'll be here all week, and boy, are his arms tired.
Hold on a second.
Well,
we can't have a single podcast that doesn't have some sort of issue.
Yeah. Thump balls. Thump.
Balls.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know Nate Fu, once he starts doing something, he has to finish it. So we have a lot of these breaks in between. I don't bother editing them out of the video portion of the podcast because I feel it's important to really get the authentic us. And the authentic us is Nate Fu is like a dog with a bone. Once he has it, he won't let go.
No, we got tapping on other windows here. You son of a biscuit.
Thank God there's liquor.
Damn you, son. Damn you. Damn, son.
Oh, it was supposed to be raining all day.
Right?
No. Yeah. So where were we? We were talking Beyond Light and next-gen consoles and Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, and we also have the next-gen video cards coming out. Apparently AMD is releasing a pretty compelling contender to NVIDIA. As you stick your tongue out at my daughters.
It's my wife.
Oh, your wife?
She decided to participate the same way. Dude, give it up. Let it go.
I can't let it go. I just can't. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what AMD pulls because NVIDIA really has controlled it and played the
NVIDIA and Intel for that matter.
And AMD has really come across on the competitive front with it. But then, something that I know you're excited about, I officially pulled the trigger for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And having just converted my existing stuff over, I have Game Pass Ultimate paid through June.
Nice.
And we've been rickrolled. But yeah, just what's on there now before they formally release everything. There's actually a pretty good collection of games on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I was playing them on my computer, not even on the Xbox yet. and that works well. I rickrolled myself. Yeah, so
I'm podcasting, dear.
if you put on clothes, you can come out and participate. Don't lick the glass. Don't no. No. No.
Oh, thank you, son. We're going to have about 30 seconds of no halo on the back of Nate's head.
Well, you're just angelic like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussion on with the next console generation on what is value in gaming, right? And it can't be understated enough that right now Xbox has that locked down.
But I also think Xbox, the fact that it's not locked to the Xbox console anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your PC, your phone, all those can now have the functionality and access is huge.
Yeah, indeed. They've broken the trend of buy a console and stay with that console. They're very much. We just got mooned. They're very much get in our ecosystem. And there's my Halo again.
I agree, Jaden. Like I'm not getting an Xbox because all those exclusives are available on PC.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll keep my Xbox to play with certain people that only have Xbox, but at this point I'm looking at upgrading my 8-year-old PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's it. They've got us tied in. It's, you know, much like Apple and Google. Once you pick up you get an Android phone and you stick with it for a generation, and oh, this is kind of cool, and then you buy the next one, and you realize just how tied you are into that. You know, our wife or your wife and our mother-in-law, they're not going away from Apple anytime soon because they've invested so much into it.
Yep.
And we've invested so much into Android now.
But for me, like, the Android is such an open system that I have just as much overlap between my Note 8 and my PC.
And I think that's kind of where Xbox went with this. They said, that kind of works. That's the customer retention.
Microsoft has really pushed on it, though.
Yeah.
Like, the capabilities I have on my Android for anything Office Suite is incredible.
That's really driving me batshit crazy.
What? Your glare?
My glare.
Yeah. I mean, we'll figure all this out at some point. Eventually, I think we'll just do this inside and just have a green screen and a video pointing out here.
Yeah, but then I can't have a cigar.
You can always have a cigar out here. Maybe not inside the house, but we'll find a way.
So, yeah. I'm anxiously looking forward to the release of the AMD cards and see what that does as far as bringing the cost down on the build that I have and bringing up its capabilities now.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not pro gamers. Not even when we were, in our prime.
I mean, speak for yourself there, buddy. I was
back in your day,
pretty adept with the old mouse and keyboard.
Back in his day, he was the best at ColecoVision.
Fuck you. I played my TRS-80 proudly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What was the calculator that we used to be able to program games into? Texas Instrument?
Oh, the TI-84, TI-85? Yeah, that played Doom.
Uh-huh. Oh. I don't know. We're not talking. So, transitioning.
TA-83. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was a TI-80 something. Jeez.
Transitioning. So we were calling this episode the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Fall is kind of the, beginning of the end as things go into a rebirth cycle. What are the new things coming forward that you're changing, hoping for, etc.? Not just gaming.
It's tough. Like I'm hoping that industry turns around, and the company that I've been working for the past almost 2 decades start seeing an uptick in business, and I don't have to worry about the stability of it, and I can go back to just living kind of carefree and just watching those paychecks roll in. But right now everything is just so, I don't know, scary transitional.
Yep. I want to see some of these other things pick up in general.
Yeah, I mean, in the bigger picture, I want to spend time with my family again. I want to be able to do holidays. Holidays this year are just going to be an absolute joke.
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin yesterday. We were talking about the fact that my grandmother turned 90 earlier this year, and we're talking about maybe doing Thanksgiving for our entire family out here next year, just so we had the possibility of everyone seeing each other kind of 1 or 2 more times before whatever life happens throws at us more.
Right.
My 90-year-old grandmother still never met her great-granddaughter. Earlier this week, we unfortunately had to bury her sister, my great-aunt. So it's just been like one thing after another that I'm hoping we can kind of end things on a high note as it goes.
No more Sean Connerys, please.
No more Sean Connerys. Well, death isn't necessarily a bad thing in a lot of cases, but it is part of a change. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean moving forward? Like my industry, entertainment industry overall, is dead at the moment.
Right.
And whatever comes back from the ashes, there may be a lot that looks the same, but there's going to be a lot that looks significantly different. And we're getting a visitor.
Oh, I didn't know that was you.
Yeah, come here, bub.
Go see Daddy.
Hi, sweetheart.
And this is Nate Fu's youngest.
Mm-hmm. This is why we work as hard as we do, right here.
That is indeed. Well, cheers to that.
My hands are full, sorry.
All right.
Can you wave to the camera over there?
Oh my god.
What?
Nightbot literally is just anything that Jaden says is like yelling at him. No! Stop that!
Jaden's toxic.
He sends heart emotes. No! Bad! Uh-oh. So, yeah. That's why we fight. That's why we continue to do what we do. We try to improve. We try to create a better life. In the words of a dear friend of mine, namaste, bitches.
Indeed.
So, got anything else we want to say on this episode?
No. You got anything you want to ask us, Jaden? Make sure you say it slowly so that Nightbot doesn't ban you. As my wife laughs at you.
I think she's laughing at all of us.
Right. The futility of it all. Yeah, it is a little chilly. There's a reason I'm wearing my Danfinity special.
To the flannel tee. Hit me up if you need sanity checks on those builds. Oh, we will.
Oh, yeah.
Stick around. You're not on our server yet, are you? We need to get you on our Discord server. We'll make you a mod there, too, since you seem to be collecting them. I mean, Dan's on it.
All of our past guests are.
Oh, hey, RTS bot went off when he typed Discord.
That's funny.
I really need a mod to help me set up everything on my channel eventually.
Here's my oldest. Oh my gosh! And see, we're talking into that camera there. Say hi.
Hey, Brookie, say balls.
Balls. Balls, 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 balls. Balls, 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 balls. Bow, 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 bow.
Thank you, Danfinity.
Bow, 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 bow.
Okay.
Bow, 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 bow.
We've created a monster.
That's part of your episode today.
Bow, 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 bow.
Okay, Bubba. Time to go.
We'll make a clip of that, and that'll now become command in both of our chats.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow.
Well, on that note, from episode 16 of the Whiskey Podcast.
Episode 16 and the balls, right?
Yeah. I'm ChewDada. You can find me anywhere at ChewDada 2020 and debuffeddad.com.
Okay, Bub. Shh.
And you are?
I am Nate Fu, master of the balls.
And we can find you at GGNateFu on Twitter.
Twitch at Nate Fu, Twitter at GGNateFu, lurking in all your Discords, probably modding most of your channels.
So, with that, happy fall, happy rebirth and next steps, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Yep.